Hey warriors, the day you stopped shrinking was the day their comfort shook. You sat quietly while they whispered, while they laughed, while they stacked their little victories on your back. They didn't notice you watching. They never do. That's the beauty of it. Silence is sharper than a blade when it waits. And you learned patience. They thought you were small, fragile, disposable, and you let them think that. You smiled while the poison of their doubt seeped into your bones. You drank it, tasted it, turned it into something heavy, something that pressed against your chest and whispered, "Not today." Every word they threw became a brick, and you built a foundation. The cracks in their world, they are your compass. Every slight, every dismissal, every mocking glance, they mark the path. You follow them like a map drawn in fire. Their laughter echoes in empty rooms. Their certainty crumbles in the shadows. You are learning to enjoy the way fear tastes in their eyes, not the kind that screams, the kind that whispers. Quietly. I should have seen it coming. You remember the first time it hit you. The moment you realized the power was always in your hands, not theirs. They were puppets. Their strings tangled in their own arrogance. And you walked away. Slowly, without a glance. Every step a declaration, every breath a rebellion. The silence behind you screams louder than anything they could ever say. They will try to box you, to define you, to shrink you again. But you've learned. You move like a shadow that doesn't apologize for existing. You twist, you bend, you become a storm they never predicted. And when the day comes that they notice, it will be too late. Too late to fix the cracks. Too late to climb out of the cage they built around themselves. So watch. Wait. Smirk quietly in the corners of their mind. Let them think you are still fragile. Let them laugh. Let them breathe their relief. Because when the shift happens, when the calm breaks, they will remember the day you stopped shrinking. The day they realized comfort was never theirs to keep. And you will walk through the wreckage, unbroken, smiling, finally free. Every scar you hide is a map leading you back to your power. Each mark, each cut, each bruise, a lesson written in blood and silence. They think they broke you. They think they buried pieces of you in the dirt. But the dirt feeds something. Roots grow where nothing should. And you are growing. Slowly, quietly, dangerously. Pain is not weakness. Pain is a mirror that shows you what you've survived. Every glance that pierced you, every word that left a scar on your mind, you carry them all. And in carrying, you transform. The broken becomes tools. The betrayal becomes bricks. And you are constructing a fortress they can't even imagine. Do they remember the nights you cried alone? Do they remember the whispers in your head that screamed, "I can't, I won't"? No, they don't. And that is their advantage. They never saw the fire sparking inside your chest, the rage that is patient, the hunger that is careful. You feed it quietly. You let it grow into a shadow that waits just behind your smile. They measure you by what you were, by what they could see, by what they could touch, but they never see what they cannot hold. The storms brewing inside, the chaos learning to bend to your will. Every scar is a pulse, Every memory is a strike. And when the time comes, every one of them will collide perfectly against their disbelief. You've learned the secret they cannot imagine. Strength is forged in isolation, in the spaces they ignore, in the corners where no one thought to look. The broken becomes fearless, the wounded becomes cunning, and the lost becomes someone they will never recognize. Someone who moves in silence, someone who watches and waits. So hold your scars close. Let them feel heavy on your skin. Let them burn in your mind. They are proof. Proof that you survived. Proof that you learned. Proof that you are no longer the shadow they thought they could control. And when you step forward, every scar lights the path, leading them straight to the consequences of underestimating you. People count on your silence more than your weakness. They assume quiet means surrender, that stillness means fear, that nod means compliance. They are fools, and fools are delicious when they realize too late that the quiet one is the one who shapes the storm. You watch, you wait, you let them trust the shadow while you sharpen yourself in the dark. Every word they left unsaid, every glance they thought unnoticed, every laugh at your expense, they are mistakes, seeds sown carelessly in fertile soil. And now, you are the harvest. You grow through cracks they never noticed. You move in ways they never predicted, and every step you take unravels the narrative they built around you. Silence is your weapon, not empty, not passive. It's patient, it's waiting. It's the calm before a hurricane they will never see coming. They will wonder, they will panic, they will look for something, anything, to explain the shift. And the only explanation is you. You finally awake. You finally aware. You finally untamed. They depended on your fear. They relied on your hesitation, and you learned the power of unpredictability. One glance, one move, one shift in presence, and the comfort they counted on crumbles. Their certainty fractures, their control evaporates, and the silence that once protected you now terrifies them. You remember every time they dismissed you, every time they ignored your words, every time they tried to reshape you in their image. And that memory is alive. It is fuel, it is fire, it is the edge that keeps you sharp. Every ignored moment, every trivialization now belongs to you, and it is deadly. So move quietly. Let them fill the air with their assumptions. Let them breathe their relief. Let them believe you are small. Because when the moment comes, when you finally speak, when you finally act, their world will shatter in slow, deliberate chaos. And all they will hear is the echo of what they created. When you stop seeking approval, you start becoming someone they fear losing. The nods, the smiles, the clumsy praise, they no longer matter. You realize they were never the prize. You were the overlooked storm waiting to unravel. Every attempt to control you only feeds the fire quietly burning in your chest. And oh, they feel it. They feel it before you even move. You used to bend, to please, to beg for recognition like a shadow, hoping for light. No longer. The hunger shifts. It becomes internal, fierce, consuming. The validation you once craved from them now flickers in your own eyes. It sparks, it grows, it burns. And suddenly, you are someone who cannot be ignored, someone who cannot be bargained with. Fear does not always roar. Sometimes it lingers like a chill. It slips into the spine. It sits quietly beside them. That is what you become. Not loud, not obvious, but undeniable. And every glance they give you, every hesitation, tells you exactly how much control they thought they had, and how thoroughly you've undone it. Their world is built on assumptions, on patterns, on the predictability of small minds. And when you refuse to play the game, when you refuse to fit into the mold, chaos blooms. A chaos they cannot touch, cannot manage, cannot explain. It grows in silence. It grows in patience. It grows in the smiles you keep, just to unsettle them further. You watch them scramble. You watch them question. You watch them try to reassert the power they lost before they even realized it slipped. And in their confusion, in their fear, you find clarity. You are free, unbound. The rules they made for you no longer apply. Every expectation you break becomes proof of the storm they cannot withstand. So stop seeking, stop begging, stop shrinking into their line of sight. Walk with the calm certainty of someone who knows exactly who they are. Let them notice, let them fear, let them wonder, because once you own yourself, once you claim your presence, they are trapped in the consequence of ever underestimating you. Power doesn't shout, it stares back. It waits. It lingers in the corners of rooms, in the silence between words, in the pauses they never hear coming. You don't need to yell. You don't need to prove. You simply exist, and the weight of that existence bends the air around you. They feel it, even when they try to look away. You've watched the loud ones crumble, the ones who demand respect, who force obedience, who scream for control. They leave chaos, yes, but it's a cheap chaos. A chaos that fades. The real terror is quiet. The real influence is calm. The real power watches, waits, and moves when they least expect it. And you are learning to wield it with a grin. Their certainty is fragile. They cling to routines, to assumptions, to the world they built on the idea that you would remain small. And every day you walk, every word you withhold, every glance that doesn't explain, you stretch the cracks in their walls. You let them panic quietly, like mice hearing a predator they cannot see. You are the predator. Strength is not shown in force. Strength is shown in restraint, in patience, in the cruel delight of letting them discover the storm inside you on their own. Let them chase illusions. Let them measure shadows. Let them panic in whispers while you move unbothered, untouchable by their assumptions. You are both calm and chaos, both shadow and fire. You will notice it too. The thrill of unseen control, the rush of influence that doesn't beg for attention, the subtle thrill of letting the world guess, miscalculate, stumble. Every hesitation they make, every doubt that flickers in their gaze, that is the power speaking. That is the storm whispering. That is you awake and alive and inevitable. So stand. Look around. Let your presence stretch and coil like smoke. Let them sense it in the air. Let them feel it in the pauses you leave unfilled. Power doesn't roar. It doesn't cry. It doesn't demand. It stares. It waits. And one day, when the pieces fall, they will see it, and it will be too late to ever forget. The one they mocked, becomes the one they study. Every laugh, every sneer, every careless word aimed at you, it becomes a lesson for them they never asked for. They thought you were small, invisible, harmless. And now they watch. They analyze. They hesitate. They are learning to fear the very person they ignored. You move differently now. Quietly. Deliberately. Every gesture, every glance, measured, controlled. They see something they don't understand, something they cannot label, and the panic grows like a shadow at the edge of a candle. It doesn't roar, it creeps, it lingers, it unsettles. You are the storm in a calm sky, and they feel it before it even arrives. Mockery was their weapon, arrogance was their shield, and you turned it into fuel. Every slight, every insult, every dismissal, they became bricks in the tower of your transformation. And now they climb it silently, studying the foundation they helped build. They don't know if it will collapse or if it will crush them. And that uncertainty is delicious. The thrill is quiet but sharp. You see their calculation, their doubt, the way they measure your presence and second guess it. And you smile softly inside, because every motion you make is deliberate. Every step is a test. Every pause is a question they cannot answer. You are chaos wrapped in control. You are fire hidden in shadow. They will ask themselves questions they cannot speak. They will trace patterns that do not exist. They will try to anticipate a force they cannot predict. And all the while you remain calm, still, smiling inside, watching, knowing that every second of their panic is proof of your ascent, proof of what they failed to understand. So let them watch, let them study, let them whisper behind closed doors, because the one they mocked is no longer theirs to define. The one they dismissed has become the lesson. The one they underestimated is rewriting the rules. And when they realize it, the weight of what they lost will settle quietly, like a storm they cannot stop. You do not chase payback, you become the lesson. Revenge is noisy, clumsy, predictable, but becoming a reminder they cannot escape, that is quieter, sharper, more satisfying. You don't need to strike, you don't need to shout. You shift, you grow, you rise, and every inch of your evolution forces them to confront the parts of themselves they tried so hard to hide. They expected fury. They expected chaos without purpose. They never expected calm. They never expected you to walk past them with eyes that no longer seek answers. That silence, that steady breath, it weighs more than any threat they ever imagined. It shows them a truth they never prepared for, the truth that you are no longer tied to their expectations. The real lesson begins when you stop fighting shadows and start shaping your own. When you stop looking back, when you stop explaining your rise, you move with intention, with clarity, with a stillness that slices deeper than any blade. They watch from a distance they didn't choose. They see the person you're becoming, and it unsettles them. Regret grows in quiet places, in the spaces between their thoughts, in the nights when the silence becomes too heavy. They replay moments, conversations, choices, and they see the patterns they ignored. They see the version of you they never valued, not because you show them, but because your progress forces their reflection. You are the mirror they avoided for years. There is no need to rush, no need to reveal, no need to perform. Your calm becomes their unrest. Your growth becomes their reminder. Your presence becomes the echo of what they mishandled. It is not punishment. It is the natural consequence of your transformation. They are left with the weight of what they never nurtured, what they never understood. So walk forward, not for them, not against them, but beyond them. Let the distance widen. Let the silence deepen. Let the shift settle into the air around you. Because becoming the lesson is not about teaching them anything. It is about outgrowing the world they tried to keep you in. And when they finally understand, it will already be far too late. Once you rise, their narratives collapse under their own weight. Every story they told themselves to feel superior, every excuse they built to dismiss you begins to crack. They cannot hold it together. They cannot reconcile the version of you they thought they knew with the storm that now walks freely, and the sound of it breaking is almost sweet. They will scramble to explain you, to rationalize the impossible. They will whisper to themselves in corners. They will measure old assumptions against the undeniable reality in front of them, and every misstep they made, every moment they ignored, becomes a question they cannot answer. You are the riddle they never solved, the truth they refused to see. The irony is sharp. They spent so much time building walls, defining limits, stacking opinions like bricks. And now those bricks crumble beneath the weight of your presence. They will look back at what they thought controlled you and realize it never did. The story they wrote about you was fiction, and you are the author of the reality they cannot touch. It is quiet chaos, subtle, relentless, not loud, not angry, not desperate, just the calm intensity of someone who has claimed themselves fully. They feel it in every glance you offer, every gesture, every step. The world bends, silently, to the force they never imagined, and the more they resist, the heavier it becomes. They will remember all the ways they underestimated you. They will recall the times they sneered, dismissed, or laughed. They will replay their small victories in their minds and feel them slip away like smoke. And you will walk forward, unapologetic, untouched, watching quietly as their assumptions dissolve in real time. You've seen the fire. Now imagine what's coming. Every word, every pause, every shadow in this video is just the beginning of your rise. The ones who doubted you, their world is already shifting, quietly under your weight. Keep watching, absorb it, let it fuel you. This isn't just a story, it's a mirror. And you, yes, you are the storm they never predicted. Watch every second, learn every secret. And when you feel that pulse of power inside, leave a mark. Comment below, speak your truth. Let the world know you survived. Let the world know you're awake. Oh wow, you feel that shift. The world's watching you now. Eyes wide, jaws dropped, whispering, how did you do it in one night? They can't process it. Years of their struggle, decades of confusion. And you cracked it while they slept. Yeah, that's right, you flipped the script like it was nothing. But nah, it wasn't luck, it was focus, baby. Pure, locked in, no blink, no noise focus. Look around. They're still analyzing, still debating, still waiting for a miracle, while you're out here living the result they said was impossible. You moved in silence, and boom, the silence got loud. The moment you stopped explaining, the moment you acted, the whole timeline changed. You turned patience into precision, pressure into purpose, pain into power. Oh yeah, this one's for you. For the ones who never got credit but kept going anyway. For the ones who turned rejection into blueprint and doubt into direction. You, my friend, are the reason this message exists tonight. You're the proof that mastery doesn't take decades, it takes decision. That single moment when you say, I'm done waiting. So listen close. Don't blink, don't scroll, don't skip. Because what's coming next isn't just a speech, it's a mirror. It's your reflection staring back, saying, see? You were always capable. Watch till the end, yeah, all the way. Because by the time this ends, you'll feel it in your bones. Drop a comment when you finish. Tell me where your fire woke up tonight. Because this isn't just my monologue, it's our movement. To every silent fighter, every focused mind, every soul that rose from the unseen, this one's a tribute to you. It wasn't luck, it was clarity, sharpened by pain. You ever notice how silence gets heavier when you finally figure it out? When you stand there, calm, while they're losing their minds, whispering, guessing, asking each other, how did you do it? Oh wow, they spent decades crawling through the same fog you sliced through in a single night. They were so sure the maze was endless, you just walked through. Not because you cheated, not because you had something they didn't, but because you refused to blink when the world tried to blind you. That's what they can't understand. The quiet that lives inside someone who's seen too much, learned too fast, and paid in silence. You didn't rise by accident. You didn't stumble into mastery. You earned it through restraint, through nights where your thoughts tore at you like claws, where quitting whispered your name sweetly, and you ignored it. Yeah, you ignored it. You didn't chase noise. You chased truth. And that's why they're in awe now, because you solved in hours what took them lifetimes of excuses. Oh, they'll call it luck to make peace with their own slowness. They'll call it coincidence to quiet their own shame. But deep down, they know. They saw the look in your eyes when everything clicked. That stillness. That terrifying confidence of someone who's no longer trying to prove, only to be. You didn't need validation. You didn't need applause. You just needed the moment to strike. And when it came, you didn't hesitate. It's strange, isn't it? The moment you stop begging for recognition is the same moment everyone starts watching. The second you detach from their praise, their eyes lock on you. Because real power isn't loud, it's unsettling. It doesn't dance or shout, it breathes slowly, like a storm calculating where to break. That's you now, a storm with focus. They think they've seen determination before, but no. They've seen ambition fueled by pride, not patience. And patience, that's your weapon. While they burned their years chasing attention, you built your discipline in silence. While they mocked your stillness, you were measuring distance, learning every shadow in the room. You didn't rush to win. You waited until you couldn't lose. That's what shakes them. Not that you won, but that you made it look effortless, like you were born, knowing what they still can't grasp. But let's be honest, it wasn't effortless, was it? You bled behind that calm face. You cracked 1,000 times and still refused to break. You stood in the fire and turned it into a mirror until you could see your own reflection and not flinch. That's what true evolution feels like. It's not glamorous. It's brutal. It's isolation dressed as focus. It's the long nights that no one claps for. It's the cold mornings when belief feels far away, and yet you move. Oh yeah, they think they admire you, but admiration isn't the word. What they feel is fear wrapped in curiosity, because if you could do it, then their excuses die. Their timelines crumble. Their illusions collapse. You became the proof that mastery is not bound by years, only by will. You became the reminder that clarity arrives when comfort dies. You didn't solve it faster because you were smarter. You solved it because you were done waiting. You broke the cycle by not participating in it. You realized that most people aren't slow because they lack knowledge. They're slow because they keep asking for permission to be great. And you never asked. You just moved. And that's what burns them the most. That you never announced it, never warned them, never gave them a chance to prepare. One night, everything shifted. One night, you made their effort look ancient. And now, they're stuck replaying it in their minds, wondering how you saw the exit they missed. Awakening doesn't feel like light. It feels like losing the need for noise. At first, it feels strange. You look around and realize you've outgrown the circle you once begged to be in. Yeah, the air feels different when your vision sharpens. Heavier, cleaner, quieter. You start noticing the patterns, how people cling to confusion because it excuses their stagnation. You tried to wake them once, remember? You shared the formula, the mindset, the path, but they laughed. They said you changed too much. They said you're too serious now. They said relax. Nah, that's not relaxation they want. That's regression. They want you small again so they can stay comfortable. But you can't go back, can you? Once you've seen how it all connects, every delay, every rejection, every sleepless night, you can't unsee it. You can't pretend you don't know the cost of clarity. You traded comfort for command. You walked away from temporary approval for eternal control over yourself. And that control, it scares them. Because they're still begging for shortcuts, and you built endurance. They chase hacks, you built habits. They want validation, you want precision. And the distance between those mindsets, it's a canyon. So now you walk alone, not lonely, but aligned. You understand something they never grasped. That greatness isn't in doing more, it's in needing less. You stripped away distractions until only purpose remained. That's why your moves look clean, effortless, because they're not fueled by impulse anymore. They're driven by conviction. Oh yeah, they whisper now. They try to decode you like a puzzle. They think there's a secret you're hiding. But the truth is painful, there's no secret. You just endured longer than they did. You stared at the walls of your limits until they cracked. You made peace with struggle instead of running from it. And in that surrender to the process, you became unrecognizable. The cost of being awake isn't isolation, it's evolution. And most can't afford it. Because to wake up, you have to give up pretending. You have to let go of every illusion you built for comfort. And when you finally do, when you stand in that silence, unguarded, clear-eyed, something shifts. You don't crave to be understood anymore. You crave to build quietly until understanding becomes unnecessary. Silence isn't weakness, it's strategy, with its teeth hidden. You learned that, didn't you? That the loudest one in the room is usually the most lost. While they shout, you observe. While they compete to be seen, you study what they miss. Oh wow. You used to think silence was your punishment. Now you know it's your edge. Every word you didn't speak became a weapon you forged quietly. You don't rush to defend yourself anymore. You let time do the talking. And time has been very loud lately. They can feel it. The way your silence unsettles them. It's not arrogance, it's assurance. You don't need to announce that you've grown. Your presence does it for you. You walk into a room and everything slows. The air adjusts. People sense something's different, not in what you say, but in what you withhold. You stopped oversharing. You stopped explaining. Because you realized truth doesn't need translation. Yeah, they call you distant now. They say you've changed. But that's what focus does. It filters noise. You stopped answering questions that lead nowhere. You stopped giving energy to what drains. You became surgical with your time. You learned that silence cuts deeper than any argument, because it exposes who really needed your attention and who just needed your reaction. Oh yeah, that's what gets them. You don't react anymore. You respond calmly, slowly, decisively. They push. You don't budge. They expect explosions, but you give them stillness. And that stillness, that's power they can't copy, because it comes from discipline. You didn't become calm by accident. You fought for that calm in nights full of chaos. You earned your composure through battles no one saw. Silence taught you that growth doesn't always roar. Sometimes it whispers, keep going. It's in the moments you walked away instead of proving a point. It's in the decisions that no one clapped for. It's in the sacrifices you made quietly, trusting that what's meant for you doesn't require noise. That's why now, when people doubt you, you don't argue. You simply let results arrive like thunder after lightning. Nah. Silence isn't the absence of strength. It's the evolution of it. You've outgrown the need to be understood. You realize that being misread is part of being rare. So you let them misjudge. You let them talk. Because while they're analyzing your pause, you're already 3 moves ahead. That's why silence terrifies them. It's unpredictable. It hides power, control, intent. They don't know if you're planning, healing, or preparing, and maybe you're doing all 3. You learned to weaponize patience until your calm became a language only results could translate. Oh yeah, silence has a sound. Now, the sound of everything aligning, finally, perfectly. You don't rush it. You don't chase it. You just let it unfold. Because silence speaks only to those who've earned the right to listen. Power doesn't always enter the room. Sometimes it's already sitting quietly in the corner watching. That's what they never realized until it was too late. The silence they mocked became the voice they couldn't ignore. The calm they misread as surrender turned into their undoing. Oh wow. The moment you finally spoke, it wasn't noise, it was truth delivered with precision. You didn't raise your tone. You didn't beg for ears. You simply spoke, and the air changed temperature. Suddenly, every eye that once overlooked you locked in. Every skeptic leaned forward. Because silence, when it breaks, carries the weight of everything it endured. You spoke once, and it echoed like a verdict. No rage. No chaos, just conviction. That's what makes truth dangerous. It doesn't need drama. It arrives clean, sharp, final. They weren't prepared for that kind of presence. Yeah, they built their confidence on volume, not value. And when your quiet certainty entered the space, their noise shrank into whispers. Because deep down, everyone recognizes authenticity, even if they pretend they don't. You didn't aim to impress. You aimed to impact. And impact doesn't always come wrapped in applause. Sometimes it lands in stunned silence. That's when you know you've struck something real. You weren't talking to win. You were talking to wake. And in that moment, they felt it. The weight of someone who no longer fears misunderstanding. You've outgrown the performance. You don't act composed. You are composed. You don't pretend to know. You understand. Nah, you didn't silence them with arrogance. You silenced them with evidence. Every word was backed by endurance. Every sentence carried scars. You didn't need to convince anyone. Your existence became the argument. Because when someone has lived the lesson, they don't debate, they declare. That's what separated you. You didn't learn through luxury. You learned through consequence. Oh yeah, they felt that. The quiet dominance of someone who's done explaining. You didn't come to be heard. You came to remind. You reminded them that real strength is quiet, because it doesn't fear being ignored. You reminded them that the truth doesn't chase attention. Attention chases truth. You reminded them that some voices aren't loud because they're not desperate, they're deliberate. And now they're watching differently. Their questions sound more cautious, their tone more respectful. Not because you demanded it, but because power has a sound, and they finally recognized it. It's the sound of peace after resistance, the sound of someone who mastered their reactions, the sound of stillness turned to steel. Oh, yeah, that's when silence stops being silence and becomes command. You didn't dominate them. You disciplined yourself until dominance was inevitable. That's how control is born, not from fear, but from focus. Revolutions don't always start with crowds. Sometimes they begin with one person refusing to stay asleep. And that's what you became. A quiet revolution disguised as a single decision. You didn't shout for change. You became it. You didn't wait for permission. You moved when the moment demanded movement. Oh wow. You realized the war was never against them. It was against the weakness that once lived inside you. Every delay, every doubt, every fear, you turned them into weapons, not to destroy others, but to rebuild yourself into something unshakable. That's the kind of revolution no one sees coming, the kind that happens inside long before it explodes outside. You didn't rise because the world changed. You rose because you did. You stopped waiting for rescue. You stopped hoping for fairness. You understood that life never apologizes for being harsh. It tests you to see who adapts without bitterness. Yeah, you adapted. You adjusted your mind until pressure became your teacher. You didn't escape the struggle. You mastered its rhythm. That's what separates survivors from leaders. Survivors endure storms. Leaders learn to walk through them without losing balance. Nah, it wasn't easy. You broke patterns that had roots in generations. You faced voices that told you to stay ordinary. You carried burdens that weren't even yours to begin with. Yet, here you stand. Not flawless, but forged. That's what a revolution does. It burns away the unnecessary until only truth remains. You've reached a place where you no longer crave comfort, you crave clarity, because you've seen what comfort does. It numbs potential. Clarity, on the other hand, sharpens it. Oh yeah, that's why they stare now. Not because you're louder, but because you're different. You don't chase speed, you chase depth. You don't argue to win, you speak to awaken. You've learned that every reaction is currency, and you spend yours wisely. That's power. Not the kind that controls others, but the kind that controls you. The revolution you began isn't about overthrowing systems. It's about rebuilding standards. You stopped comparing yourself to people who don't carry your scars. You stopped measuring success by applause and started measuring it by peace. And in that shift, you became unstoppable. Because the most dangerous person in the room isn't the loudest, it's the one who's aligned. Oh wow. They thought the fire would burn you. Instead, it refined you. They thought silence would erase you. Instead, it built you. They thought isolation would weaken you. Instead, it revealed your essence. That's the beauty of unseen revolutions. By the time the world notices, it's already too late to stop them. You didn't need a stage. You didn't need noise. All you needed was one night, one moment, one decision to never go back to the version of yourself that waited for approval. You solved what took them decades because you stopped doubting and started doing. You broke through not because you wanted glory, but because you wanted freedom from illusion. And now, look at them, still whispering, still guessing, still trying to figure out how you did it. Oh, wow, they thought it was luck. But you and I, we know better. It wasn't luck, it was work. It was focus. It was those nights nobody saw, those battles nobody clapped for. Yeah, that's what built you. They wanted to see you break, but instead, you bent reality. You turned struggle into structure. You learned what they avoided. You faced what they feared. And that's why they're in awe now, wondering how you solved in a single night what took them decades to even understand. That's the secret, isn't it? You stopped waiting for perfect conditions and started creating them. Nah, don't let their shock fool you. They'll call it magic. They'll call it mystery. But the truth is, you earned every ounce of it. Every scar, every sleepless hour, every silent victory. You didn't chase attention, you commanded it. Without noise, without chaos. Just calm precision and unstoppable will. Oh yeah. This is your era now. The age of quiet power. The reign of those who build while the world watches in disbelief. Keep going. Keep refining. Keep making them question what's possible. Because what you did once, you can do again. Stronger, sharper, faster. You're not done. You've only just started. So if you felt this, drop it in the comments. Yeah, you. Let them know the sleepless ones still exist. Let them know the watchers have become the makers. Let them feel that presence that doesn't need to shout. Because your journey, it's not just your win, it's a message. Oh, and remember this. They'll keep wondering how you did it, but you'll just smile. Because the real ones never explain, they just do it again.